Aloha, everyone. I'm your host, Christina Leni Mitri, and welcome to Smart Living Hawaii's podcast, where we discuss smart homes and technology, sustainability, healthy lifestyles, and smart business. Today, we'll continue our Sustainable Leader series, and we'll have a talk story with Blanch McMillen, also known as Aunty Blanche. And I have been meaning to meet this amazing woman and share her story for a while. I've met a lot of people that would bring her up, and I was like, I got to get out to Waimanalo and meet her. And about a month ago, I did. So today's the day where we get to do a podcast together. She is a founder of Hui Mahi'ai'Āina, a homeless community program that provides village-style housing, essential facilities, and long-term support for those facing hard times in Hawaii. Affordable housing for the state of Hawaii is one of our top sustainable initiatives here, and we are needing solutions to our problems, not band-aids and quick fixes. Today, we'll talk about solutions that provide hope, promise, and a future for Hawaii residents. So, aloha, Auntie
Uh,
Blanche.
Aloha, and how are you, Christina?
Thank you so much for jumping on this podcast with me today. Um, I'm going to read a little bit about her. She's going to tell her story as well. But just real quick, she is a lifelong supporter of Waimanalo, whose unwavering dedication to her community has made her a cornerstone of hope and support for the Native Hawaiians facing economic hardship. Deeply rooted in her faith and compassion, she views herself as God's instrument, teaching love and ohana to all those she helps. She's motivated by the struggles of her people, many of whom are unhoused and unable to afford living in their ancestral home. Auntie Blanche took action. During the COVID-19 pandemic, she's canvassed the Windward Coast to find and support those in need. With the help of volunteers, she's established a homeless encampment on 7 acres of vacant land currently, providing shelter, food, and medical support to over 60 people. And she collaborates with nonprofits, churches, and local groups to keep her community safe, healthy, and housed. So,
Yes,
without further ado, let's dive into maybe you were born and raised in Waimanalo, right?
that is correct.
Yeah. So maybe I mean, I grew up in town, and then my dad worked out in Mackay Ocean Engineering, so we did drive through there often, and we did go to the beaches over on that side, especially by the pier. But maybe share a little bit more about Waimanalo back in the day, and then how it's evolved, and then I kind of leading into your story. So yeah.
Okay. Actually, I come from a family of 17, real brother,
Wow.
sister, one father, and one mother. And we come from that much of family. And I'm married. My husband is Willie, and I have two daughters, one son. And I have 8 grandchildren and 5 great grandchildren. So,
Wow.
but in growing up in my days in Waimanalo with my family, we all worked very hard. My father and mother was very strong Christian people. What I really admired them when I was the age of 6, I always used to watch my mom and dad bring in people from the streets, feed them, bathe them, and then they go on. And not only homeless people, they even took care of people coming out of prison who run away from the prison. And my father would feed them and get them ready to go back into prison to, turn themselves back in. And that was the kind of part that I really admired. And I said, one day I'm going to become what my dad and mom is. But they really taught us who was God, who was our Christian life. And then I fell in love with it and I made it stronger. So then I started to work for St. George Church. 15 years I've been with St. George Church as a coordinator for the outreach program. I've been and then, growing up time, I wanted always to be a nurse. And going through that, I lost my son. And that's when my faith fell down. When I lost my son, and I asked God the questions. But who am I to ask God the question why? So I had to learn how to give back in the Christian life, how to pay attention, make sure that you know what you're really doing. The kind of question that you ask God, what, why? It's not, you never ask God why. You always know there's a reason why. that your child is in a better life, better world. So in that time, I was learning all this kind of stuff. Never, but it was very hard for me, but I continue on. And then afterwards, I started to adopt children. I was a foster care. And then I worked for the Special Olympics. And then I was in American Society, Cancer Society with children. I love children. And that was my important thing. And I continue on to do it. And then I adopted 5 children after being a foster care. And then after that, it became bigger. My work became more bigger than I thought. Unbelievable. Then when I started doing things with the Catholic Church, I knew there was something that God was preparing me for. But I knew I always asked him, I want to take care of the poor. That was my answer. That's the main thing that I always ask him. Why can't you give me to take care of the poor, but not knowing it was going to be the homeless, houseless, the kupunas, and the sickly? God gave me all that together. And then what happened? The pandemic happened. But I had this property already in 2015 already. It was supposed to be an agriculture land. It wasn't supposed to be homeless land. So I say, okay, God, now I have to turn to you. Now I need your help. How can I save my people? How can I go forward by saving my people? So when the day came, when the pandemic started, my people out there at the beach park had no water, no toilets, no shower, no nothing. They
Because they
left
shut it off, right? During the pandemic.
everything. You know how they go? They're so panicked out. They forgot about God. He's in control, not the human beings. It's God control. So when I looked at this, I said, "Oh, no ways. My people is coming home." So I had the lieutenant governor. Now today he's the governor. I had the senators. I had the council members. I said, "Now what can we do?" But I want to ask you guys this. I want to run something, but I don't have the permit for this place. I had nothing, no permit, not even the lease. I said, you know what? I'm going to leave it in God's hand, but I will ask for forgiveness later on. So what happened? So that day in 2019, this back here was all full with garbage, cars, icebox, engine. For the people from the beach park, the beach area, I brought 14 of them home. And we started cleaning. We started to do everything. And in no time, somebody came with 9 pallet homes to put homes on the property. And after that, I said, God, where are we going to get the water? He said, simple. Connect your water hose from your house to the back. And that's what we did. You know, my water bill used to be $200 something. In that year was only $10. I knew I was working for God. I knew God was with me. So then God told us, okay. So I said, how are we going to get electricity? He said, you have a friend who owns the electricity. The generator. Then it was called, it was Generator of Hawaii, who brought the big generator to operate the electricity. Then I said, what about the toilets? How are we going to use we can't dig the hole and, have the old fashioned way. So we had sanitary toilets came in. So we had at the beginning, we had only 4 sanitary toilets because we only had 14 people.
The porta potties?
That is correct.
Yeah.
And then we started to do that. I said, okay, God, now how am I going to get the money? How am I going to build this place? How am I going to go forward? He said, you leave it in my hand or you do my work. And that's exactly what I did. I left everything in God's hand, and everything that I asked, it came out. Truckloads of materials to build the houses with no permit. Everything was built. I built 24 homes first. I brought every single people who started to crawl to me to come here. People, even the old folks with blood all over them, sores all over their body. I nourished all of them and I brought them home. And only what I had to do was have 7 of my people from the beach park. After that, I made them build the rest of the houses. There were no important people who taught us how to build the homes. We just did it. And we would continue on building the homes. And then the kitchen, We had somebody come in, design a kitchen. We built the kitchen. We did everything. And I said, okay, God, now you have to tell me how many more people are you giving me? Today, I have 105 people, 15
Wow.
homes. Today, I have 4 cancer patients. I have 20 kupunas with me. So today, who's walking on my property right now is all kupunas. The ages are from 81, 82, 83, and 85. My oldest is 93 years old. And we as a we supposed to have hospice for our cancer patients, but they don't want nobody to be here to take care of them. They want our residents to take care of them. So our residents are the ones that are helping them today. Yes. And so we all work together. And
So you have a lot of, did you say cancer patients?
yes, we have stage 4 cancer.
Oh, so it's like a hospice, then you're
That is
saying?
correct. Yes. And we do
How
have this.
many cancer patients do you have?
Total, we had 6. 2 passed away, went to heaven already. So we got 4 other ones just came in. Yes.
Oh. And
And
where
you
did they come from? They just show up or they
They just
hear
show up.
about,
Some of them walk the street or came to me, and I never say no. I say yes. You're welcome. Even if we didn't have the houses ready, but I made sure that we had, later on, we had the home. But one person that came in, a kupuna, was crippled now. And then I had 3 other, all seniors. I had to put 3 in a tent right now. I have 3 in a tent right now. I have 1 in the house with a special need. She's crippled. She was paralyzed. But guess what? This Aina healed her. Her toes are moving. She can feel. And that's what happened. When I first started, I had one patient, but I didn't know she had cancer. She was paralyzed. She was from Mauna Kea. Josh Green's chief of staff brought it to me, called me, can you take care of her? I said, yes, bring her. She was completely paralyzed. Next day, where I found her in the garden, walking in the garden and not knowing, she was so happy. She was alive. She, you should see how she was unbelievable. I have a picture of her talking about herself, how she used to campaign for Josh Green. Yeah, that's what we used to do. And she used to talk, but not knowing when she would get sick, we found that she had cancer. And when she had cancer, that never bothered her. She kept on going, never stopped. But she knew that her body couldn't handle it anymore. She knew she needed to be with us. She knew that she had love. She found love. She found family. She found everything here. And you know, before they die, I always ask them, what is your last wish that you want me to take care? Because you know, the homeless don't have money. They have no funeral plan, no nothing. But I took care of all that plan. And so she asked me, can I be cremated? Can I go to the ocean? And I did. Her wish came true. I did exactly what she wanted. Yeah. I took care of everything. Everything was, she eyed to me. She was happy in the next world because she seen what we were doing, all of us. Yes.
so you have an array of different families from different ages, or are they mostly kupuna?
No, we have 20 kupunas. The rest is like, the youngest here is 24 years old. But we have
Do they
babies.
have do you have families with
I have 5
kids?
different I have families, and the youngest, our baby, is going to be 2 years old. Yes, 2 years old. But we have 5 different families here, and we're one of the we have the Micronesian who have family of 5. We have another family of 9, a family of 10, a family of 7, and a family of 5. Yeah.
And how long would you say that everybody do they pretty much stay with you? Like they've been with you for a long time?
Yes, they don't want to move. They want to stay here for the rest of their life. And the first question they asked me, how long do I get to stay here? I said, as long as you can live. As long as you can live with me, as long as you, when God takes you home, that's when, that's the end of your journey. So, you know, doing all of this, what I actually, let me talk about the ones in the TED when I see them under the tent, the homeless one from the beach or countries, bushes. When I see them and I said, it is time for you to come home. It is time for you to come. But some of them have the bad habit like drugs. So
Mhm.
if you're not ready to
Let
clear up
go.
you just stay at the beach. But those who want to quit, they're allowed to come and follow me. So that's what our facility is. No drugs at all,
Mhm.
free. So what I had to do to make my people believe in itself is to bring the church back on our land, and that's what I did. I brought a kupuna. She's a kupuna church pastor, Kahu, and we have church every Sundays from 9 to 10:30. We have all of them come to church, from the adults to the kids. So there's 100 of us go to church, and we have about 20 people from the outside that comes to church with us. And after when we serve but I gotta tell you something. It was an amazing, a miracle that happened last week. One of my residents, he wanted to do a gospel. He wanted to speak on behalf how Jesus worked. And it was unbelievable. And he did. He went and opened up that day and he talked about the whole way. It was like a movie. It was in the movie. And he talked about uh, John, Luke, Matthew, Genesis. I said, oh my God, this God is unbelievable. And that's my resident. It was so unbelievable how the power of God reaches all our people here. And when we had the church come back, I didn't push them. It was up to them. If they wanted to go to the church, they may do so. So each time when we was having church every Sundays, then some of them was changing. Some of them was having miracles happening in front of them. This is why now it's time for me to open up for my people to share how they became who they are today.
Like their testimonies.
Yes, it was unreal. Things that was unbelievable that I couldn't believe it. And they came from a hardship. They came
Oh yeah.
from a disaster. It was terrible. People didn't care for them. There was like garbage to them. And I said, how can we have this kind of people in this world that treat our people that way? So once they came here, they found the love, they found peace in themselves, and they found one family that cares for them. And that's what makes, and and that's why I tell the legislature, I tell everybody, there is a solution if you put God before you. God will show you the way how to protect our people, those that are in need. And that's why we need to stand up to all the politics, because politics only can yap, 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 and there's no action. But like me, I take it to action. I showed them and I told them, the rules and regulation that you guys have, it's all human made. If you grab that Bible, it will show you God's word. God's word will answer any question that you want. Anything that you always wish for is there. It's there to tell you. But if you want to challenge God's word, be my guest. I'll be happy to let you challenge him in the word of the Bible.
So that's what it leads me to. So what it seems like is like with Governor Josh Green,
Yes,
you've been able to work with him on things. And,
yes,
I'm assuming the emergency proclamation, being able to get things through in from the beginning to now, where you're able to do what it is you're doing, and it be okay.
yes.
And you get approvals for it. Um, how do you feel God worked through that? Because I mean, yeah, there's government involved and
Right.
there's, regulation and and then there's God, right? So
Yeah.
it would be like I would love to hear how that kind of story came about and how that relationship got to a place where just where it is today.
Yeah. Well, actually, in 2019, when you first started here, the neighbors were very bad. They don't believe, not in my backyard. But I knew my people was looking for help, but there were no help. So because I had this property, wasn't even leased yet. It was just they called that the right of entry, and that's what I had. So at that time, Josh Green came, and we had 3 meetings, but the people condemned, didn't want them. So I went, how hard I prayed and everything. I said, God, this is your people. Now show me what I can do. So what I had to do, he woke me up at 2 o'clock in the morning. He said, you go on the street and you get 2,000 signatures. 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock, I had 2,000 signatures on the pala pala. And I walked in the middle of my street and I told the 5 people, I won you. I won over you. Now I'm going to bring my people home. And that's exactly what I did. And then the governor believed in me. But I had to show how can I run this kind of show? How can I take care of the people? How can I really provide? But you know what? How I'm providing is unbelievable. People were shutting down because of the COVID, right? You knew everybody went crazy. There were no food on the street. There were nothing. But that's all I had to do was ask. Churches from different places came in and brought food here. And I would put them on the table. So all the homeless on the outside would eat. And so do we. That's what we did. But we had to stay away from each other. But I didn't care. I said, God, you never put the sickness here. It was the human beings who did that. We need to realize it, that you control this whole entire earth. You created heaven and earth. You're the one who put me here today to make sure that the people survive. And that's what I did. And I had to show the governor, I had to show the mayor and everybody. So when the 6 months went by, I had no problem with my neighbors anymore. When I started building, the state and the city turned around and said, you cannot build more than 25. I said, watch me. And I did tell them, watch me. And I kept on building. And I made sure that my people were provided with food, clothing, and a shelter over the head. And I said that is God's will. And that's what happened. And I continue to do it. I never listened to any of the human beings on earth. I never, ever listened to the government, not even the state and city. And what I did not get any 1 penny from the state and city. I did it with God's help. Yeah.
And
Nothing.
then they just turned around and said,
That's it.
okay.
That's it. So today I use we because God and I is together. Everywhere I walk, whatever I do, that's all Him. Yeah.
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 So, I know you mentioned, kind of the rules of with drugs and everything. And I know that is a really big, epidemic here in our
Yes.
state and what we're facing. And then mental health, mental health is also the other. And I know, I mean, whether it's mental health and they've got, medication or no medication or whatnot, how do you handle that? When someone does have more of like a mental health
Sure.
situation where, it's a little harder to manage. Do you have a place for them or do you welcome them in or how does that work?
When they actually, I had some bad ones, but I never was afraid of them. I always face them face to face. They get either choice. They listen to me or they don't. Yeah. So that's how you got to deal with them. And then what you need to do is face them face to face and tell them how much you love them, how much you care for them, how much you will be there for them. That's the healing process. But in a way, sometimes they walk away. They forget what I just got to see. But in a month time, they gradually come out of it. You wouldn't believe it, miracles happen here. So
Do you feel like it was a spiritual attack or like, with like
right.
demons and
Yes.
stuff? Like, do you feel like some people have been like
Some of
either
them, yes.
possessed or something
Yes.
and
We
you
do
having
have
to
some
work
of
with
them
that,
with that.
like
Yeah.
deliverance and everything?
Yes, we did. I did have a couple of them. You talk about bad ones, bad ones. And I would deal with it. But they don't, when you're doing God's work, you're never afraid of anybody. There's nothing you can be afraid. Use how you present yourself to that kind of thing. And so I thought she had a demon. She had one. She had the kind of, she used to be the machete lady for Kailua. She would, she would beat the hell out of men. She will, I mean, talk about give the man's dirty licking, pull out their hair. That's what she was. That's how hatred she had in her. But I had to teach her how to love. But I cried because I had to release her because she was really in a bad situation with another lady. So I said, you know what? Do me a favor. I'm going to put you in another church and I'm going to let the church members to take care of you. And she's wonderful today. She's good. Yeah. And everybody called her Auntie Dolores. Her name is Dolores. Yeah. And she was my beautiful lady. I loved her. And she loved me too. And but I had to release her, but she was good. Then I had another one, a boy, huge, and he beat up his grandma and his sister. I went straight up to him and I said, let me tell you something. I'll break your 2 feet and I'll break you down until you kneel to me. You understand me? You don't do that to your parents. That you should be thankful to have, thank your parents for you today here with me. Because without your parents, you wouldn't have met me. You heard me? So you better thank, you see all these kind of things. You got to see what they're doing. What's the cause of it? Is how you can solve the problem and how you can do their work for them. Today, my boy works. Today, he makes money and he saves his money. This is the kind of story that people need to realize. What our people can come out of it. Those who lives on the street. How wonderful. They are the most beautiful people on the street when you have them here. And drug-wise, I have a lot of them that came here with drugs, but I gave them 3 warnings. After the 3rd warning, I walked them out the gate. They need to solve their own problem. I cannot take them by the hand and say, quit right now. No, they need to find classes or somebody to help. So I'll help them find a place where they can get help. And some of them did. And some of them is back home here. Yes. I
And so
always say,
so they've left and they've come back clean
yes, yes,
and in there with you.
yes. And then and there is so and now they teach all those that have been problem and they go out and help others. Yeah. And they're
That's
good.
so awesome.
Yeah.
That's
This
so
is
awesome.
yeah. And this is what this, we can solve this problem by our own people, those who was on the street. Today are people finally found God in their heart. So they want to take that path too. They're going to tell you that. Now they found, now they can walk the path with God. Now it's time for them to help others than what they went through. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's true. Like the testimony of every person is what
Yes.
reaches people. And when, I mean, everybody goes through different things, but some things you can relate to those that if you've gone down that path before and you're out of it, then you can help those that are in that
Yep.
specific path. And like everybody's got their own path and they're dealing with their own things. And
Yes.
I totally believe that, like everybody's testimony has a huge impact on certain people that are going through it at that time. So, I mean, I think that would be a great thing to eventually get the people at your community to put their testimony to a point where they can, tell their
The other
testimony.
story. And
Yeah,
that's
tell
why
their
we're doing.
story.
Yeah. So for mine's one, we're gonna have each and every one of them has a testimony of themselves when they first came to me, and then how they feel. What is the greatest thing that they had feared on first when they
That
came
would be
here?
such an interesting documentary for
Yeah.
your
Yes.
for your whole place. That would be amazing to
Yeah.
hear all the stories of all the people that have been saved
Right.
and come out of it and now is helping others. That would be so amazing to hear that.
And
We
one
should
thing
get
that I
somebody to
do,
put this together for you.
and what is so good about it? When they show me that they're good, they're don't have to be told, and if I always give them something special, like I take them all to Polynesian culture. I take all of them to Polynesian culture. That's like an excursion. Makes them happy. And then for the kids, I take them to water park. The kids are happy. That's what I want to see, happiness. I want them with a smile on the face. It
Like
makes me great.
joy, right? Just
Yeah.
like, or it's long lasting.
Right.
like we're just, it's always there. Like I see it in you, your heart. You have that joy in you, and that just that you just exude it, like God's love. So, I mean, when the second I met you, I felt that. So, I just was like, oh, I need to get going with you and like talk with you more and get more involved. So,
Yes.
um, some of the other things that I wanted to talk about too is not just the fact that the way you bring people in, but um the topic on affordable housing for the state of Hawaii is a challenge. And I know that you're like we have the solutions. And I feel for the past about 10 years now, I've been in this space. I'm in real estate by trade, but
Right.
so we deal with affordable housing in different levels and, just the different nonprofits that I'm a part of as well. And homelessness and houselessness it's just continuing to grow and becoming a bigger, more people are becoming houseless and homeless. And, you know, I think the biggest thing is they're losing like a sense of hope altogether, and
There are,
there's something that has happened in their lives that have taken them down this road that they just have no, whether it's self-worth or, they don't feel like the value is there, or they've gotten to a point where they feel like they can't pick themselves up out of their situation, whatever it may be. But I guess we're all trying to find solutions for this. And I feel like the government themselves, they're trying to do it, and a lot of nonprofits are doing it. And at the end of the day, they're providing homes or houses or shelter, but it's nothing more than just that. And it needs to be more. It needs to be the community. It needs to have like the hope and the love and the faith that there's going to be more past this, that it's not just going to be like, okay, we get you clean and then throw you out the door and go figure it out. Because at the end of the day, if you never get to the root of someone's problems, then it's just going to start back up again.
yeah.
You get them all
Mhm.
cleaned up and then you put them back out, and it's like a cycle that doesn't break. And I feel that what you guys are doing is breaking the cycle that people are in. So can you share a little bit more about what your community looks like in even like farming side of it? Because I think that food is a huge part
Yes.
to it. But
You
maybe
know,
talk a little bit more about the community side.
on my son, when I first started, I always wanted a farm that would provide for our people. And that's what we did. And today our farm is unbelievable. Our agriculture is huge. And it's going to be more bigger because to me, I'm being prepared just in
Mhm.
case of emergency, just in case there's a hurricane or something going to happen. We are prepared. Our people is prepared. And that's why, I make sure that we have food to eat, we have water to drink, we have all of that prepared, ready. And that's what people need to know. That is the most important thing. Never take anything for granted. It's not going to happen if you take it for granted. You're never going to survive. And so you start now. And then for our community, our people, we make sure that we're well taken care of. We have our food, the farming, and everything. Yes, some of them work, some of them is handicapped, but we always find something for them to do. And like us, you know, make sure that our place is taken care of, clean. Because I have some of them that was houseless. They couldn't afford. It was expensive. Why
Mhm.
does the community, I mean, especially the government, why don't they put the wages high and put the lower cost down, especially housing? Why don't they do that? But no, they put in the housing up and they put in the wages down. What does that mean? That is terrible. And this is why you find a lot of houseless people today. They can't afford it. Even families cannot afford it. If they do away with welfare, you know what's going to happen? It's going to be a war. There's not going to have food. They're going to not have a paid stuff for the children. They're not going to get food stamp. Look at this kind of stuff might happen if they didn't happen. What is the solution with the government? What are they going to do about people starving? People that don't have a house to do. Right now, they're on the street. There's nowhere they can turn to. This is why, they said they're going to make lower economy, lower housing. It never happened. It went up higher, the cost. People cannot afford $1,500 to $2,000 a month. Their wages are not high enough to cover that. They need food in the stomach to feed their family. That's what we need, the most important thing. So actually, if they only realize it, make the wages go high and make the economy go down lower. That's the only way the solution can be. And
Yeah.
for us, our people, this is what I did. I'm not going to charge my people high. Yes, we have a program fee. They only pay $200. $200. That's it. That pays for all the utilities, our propane, our diesel, our sanitary toilets, our gas, and everything. What we use here, that's what pays up everything, the program fee. The food,
So who pays? Do people get help with their program fees?
they do. They all do. They all have. Once it, when I first get there, they have nothing. Not even a birth certificate, not their social security. It's all taken away because of the sweep.
Yeah.
Sweep is the worst stupid thing that they ever had. You're taking away their belongings. You're not the one who's getting them back for them. It's us getting them back for them. We have to hustle and try to get their IDs, their social security, their birth certificate, their welfare back. We're doing all of that. This is why they have that today. They're taking, and the sweep is not worth it. It's just chasing them to the next side. It's not taking them away completely. We need to solve the problem. And give me that, I told the government this, give me the land and I'll show you how to use the land. I put all my people on the land. That's a solve. That's where we're going to solve the problem. And we need good people to take care of them. They cannot have Aunty Blanche all the time, but I can be a teacher for them. Teach them how to run this, the solution about homeless, houseless.
Yeah, I think that's the other side is that, I mean, it is true that a lot of people lose their, like things get stolen, right? I mean, it's not just a sweep. I mean, a lot of people that are homeless or houseless, and if they're on drugs, if they have mental health concerns and issues, I mean, it's very easy to lose your stuff or get your stuff stolen. I know that happens a lot. Like a lot of people, I mean, there are people that come here and they're not homeless, but sometimes they get to a homeless situation because they
Yeah.
were here and then something got stolen and they have no way of getting back, and then they get into a bad spot, and it just starts spiraling. And then
Yeah.
and the second it starts spiraling, I mean, to be honest, the bottom thing is they lose hope. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the hope. It's they lose that sense of hope that they're going to get out of it, and then they just give up. They give up. They give up on, trying to make it work, and it ends up just being, and then sadly they end to move towards drugs, and then because if they don't take their life, it's the drugs will, and so I think it's what your community does brings that hope, and I feel like that is something that everybody can learn from, the government can learn from, is that you need to give not only dignity back to the people, right? But you need to give them that future. They need to see the fact that you are saying that they're going to be able to live on your land till the day they die. Well, of course, that they abide by the
Yeah.
rules, and still do their fair share and be a part of the community. I mean, that alone just takes away the fear of anything, or it gives them hope that they have a place tomorrow, they have safety, they have food, they have all the basic necessities that you need, and they have that love and ohana family that they probably haven't had in many years. And that, to me, is that one thing that is going to you know get that person back on track, whether they stay with you forever or they, part. I mean, do you have a lot of people parted and then gone to better places,
We
like,
had
or
a couple
moved
of them.
on to a
Yes.
different
Yes.
community or their own home or got into a career and taken their family into their own
Yes.
households
We
and stuff?
we had some of them, they moved on already. They have an apartment. Oh, they enjoy. But this is a family of 8. They finally got an apartment in Kaneohe. They're happy. But they miss us. They said they want to come back home. I said, no, you have an apartment. Enjoy it. So and then we have other families who went on. They're doing great. And then we have one other person who was heavy on drugs. Today she has an apartment. She's happy. But she always come home on Sundays for church.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, they're so happy. There's some of them wanted to go on their own. They did it, and they're doing great. Yes.
Do you have anybody that just like they don't play the game and they just come in thinking they can just get a free ride and
No,
then
we don't.
and
We have
then
some
what? Do
of them.
they get kicked out or they talk to you and they change their mind?
Yeah, they do. They change their mind. They become greater, better. So they're trying to shape up. Yeah. So you can't play no game with me. So they last long here. They're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the future? I know that when you were taking on, I know we didn't have a long time on that tour, but you were driving us through some other land that
Yes.
isn't quite developed yet. Could you tell us a little bit more about, I guess, your future plans? Because that's always exciting to hear what God's
Yes.
doing.
What we're on the other land, we're gonna have 300 homes.
So it's
And
basically just for the people listening,
yeah,
you have 7 acres that you kind of have right now, and
yes,
then
altogether total 14.5 acres.
yeah, and it's adjacent to your land and it wraps around. How did that come about?
Actually, when I first had this place, it started with it's supposed to be a 14.5 acres, but they wanted to test me on the 7 first, how I would. So instead, they came back to me. They said, no, you got 14.5. So I said, okay. And so the one that I'm right now, this is a flood zone. So I need to
Mm,
move my people to the other side where there's no flood zone. So
oh,
that's the part we're gonna clean. So far, I have got a news. We're gonna be start moving. I mean, we're gonna start cleaning and getting ready in 2 months.
oh,
Yes,
wow,
and we
okay.
got and we got the money and everything ready to go. We got donations and all is helping build the next facility. So that facility we're gonna have a hospital, but we're gonna have a RN running that hospital hospice. We're gonna have 2 beds, and that RN is gonna teach CNA classes. So
Oh,
that
wow.
our people, yes. And then we're gonna have education. We're gonna have a library. We're gonna have all of that in that facility. Yeah. And then we're gonna make sure that everybody has their own place to stay. We have the kupunas that are going to be with bathrooms and everything. Families are going to have community bathrooms, kitchen, same like the single and double. We're going to have that still, yeah, the community bathrooms and everything. Yes. The reason why I did that is because I don't want people to be living in their house and forgetting to come out from the house. We need to all work together. Yes. So everybody's assigned to do things like clean the bathroom, be security, cook, and do all this kind of thing. That's what we do today here.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like a village. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's what we do. So that's why I think that's where
How
all
many homes are you guys looking at putting up that's going to be built?
at this time they said 198 people we're going to bring in. So at that time, I think we're going to build about close to 70 to 80 people, I mean, houses. But my dream is to have 300 homes. Yeah. To help others that don't have a place and to continue on helping those on the beach and everything. Yeah.
So
That's my
the hospice, like the center that you're going to have, is also going to educate the people that are also living there too, right? Are they
yes,
going to be able to get certified to do things
yes,
as well?
yes,
Wow, that's so
yes.
awesome.
And you know what is so good? I even have all my people have they're certified for CPR. All of them get CPR classes.
Yeah. Well, that's important though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And I put all of them to class. Yes. Make
Yeah.
sure they get their certificate. Yeah.
And
So that's what all homeless should do. have all this kind of important thing just in case of emergencies.
Right.
Yes.
So, the other thing that I wanted to ask is that obviously you have a lot of land, and I know that you have everybody there working on the farm and working to help build, but I'm sure that you could use volunteers or you always take donations. Maybe you could share with us how people can reach out to help or volunteer.
On actually every month we have farming. It's the second Saturday of each month. We start from 8 o'clock in the morning to 1:30 in the afternoon, and we the one who serve people lunch, and we give them water, juice, whatever we have. Yeah, we take care of everyone who volunteered to service. And so far, we had 75 Kamehameha students here. We had the church. We have churches come here who want to volunteer. We have community service. I deal with the courthouses who has traffic violation or this. I have them here, community service. Then I have Miss Hawaii, Miss USA. They all here volunteer their service. Yeah. So
Okay,
we
well,
have
because I'll talk to my church, Inspired Church, and see if that would be something they want to volunteer for at some point. So it's the second Saturday of the month from 8 to
yes,
1:30. And then I'm
right.
also going to talk to my Eco Rotary Club because we do like to help when it comes to like more sustainable initiatives. So this
Uh-huh.
I think is really right up their alley, especially on the farming side. So
Yeah,
I'll see if maybe we can pull some extra volunteers to
sure.
come check you guys out. That would be
Yeah.
so cool.
And you know what is another thing? I have the Rotary Club. They the one who helps me, like us,
Which Rotary Club? What's the name of
uh,
them? Is it?
it's the Honolulu Rotary Club.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
Honolulu. Okay.
yeah. So it was so good about it. Kathy, them, we, we're homeless, right? We feed the homeless. And we make 500 sandwiches, brown bags. We take clothing, we take shampoo, conditioner, all this kind of small thing from the hotel. Then we take toothpaste, toothbrush, we take slippers, whatever we have, we take it on the road with us. So the first place that we go to is
When you
Eva Lake.
say we, is that everybody in your community also
Yes,
goes back to the homeless
yes,
community? That is
yes,
so awesome.
yes. And we take our vans. You should see how excited they get. They feel good because they're homeless and they're feeding the homeless. That's what they always wanted to do, was give back, because they always say they have enough. Now it's time for them to share. And that's what we did. And we do that every 6 months. But now I feel that I gotta be out there every 3 months, because you know what, it's getting worse. I feel that it's getting worse and worse out there, and it's nothing.
Where
And
do you
so
go?
we go to Ivalay, from Ivalay to Chinatown. We walk the whole place. And then from there we pack up, and then we start from Nanakuli all the way down to Makaha. That's what we do. Yes. And we make sure that everybody eats, everybody's all taken care of on the street.
So do you have, well, it sounds like you're going to be doing this quarterly. Is this something that you get more like groups together to help put this all together? Do you have
Actually,
events for
everything.
this?
We do everything, and then we get phone calls like the Rotary. They ask what can they bring, and I said, why don't you bring fruits? So they make all the fruits. They meet me there in Ivalay, and then we all walk the street and we give everybody. If not, we have people come to the table. We set up the table with everything, like the clothing and everything. And if people cannot walk and they're still in their tent, we go there and give them food and everything, and
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
happy. But let me tell you something. It's really unbelievable. Wherever I go, everybody knows my voice. And the first thing they ask, is that you, Aunty Blanche? I said, how you know this, Aunty Blanche? and they all know that's me out there. They say, Aunty Blanche, you're the only one. I said, but you guys have other churches come here and feed you fools. Yeah, they say, yeah, but Auntie, you bring a lot of stuff. You really support us all the time. I say, okay, but Auntie's only gonna feed you guys maybe third of the month or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever time we get. Because I'm so busy half of the time traveling all over, helping other Hawaiian islands with homeless shelters. Yeah. So
So
that's what.
are you working with the governor or
Yes, I
the
am.
state in order to put more to replicate what you do?
Yeah. Well, to
Versus
be
just, I
honest
mean,
with
is this
you,
gonna be something that kind of expands
yeah.
across the state?
That, you know what? Let me tell you something. It is all over the world, this place, because my grandson is a pro football player. Now today, he is the pro football player for Panthers. He is the number one wide receiver, and he had put my face with the governor and with some of my people on top of his draft day, and had my face on it. I said, "What?" He said, "My grandma takes care of homeless people on a walk." And everybody called me. I mean, people, they just cannot believe it. And that's what I want to do. I want to take it on to other places that needs the help. Spread the word that I'll be coming to help them. That's why I want to say in the city, give me the land and I'll show them. But the only thing I have to do is pray to God, show me the people that can be the one to take care, who believe in you, Lord. Because that's
You
the
work,
only,
do you, I mean, I kind of have this vision that, well, I believe that there's going to be a revival coming, but I
yes,
feel like the churches are unifying here in Hawaii. And I also think that, like, at the end of the day, like the churches are the storehouses, right, for the
right,
people.
yes,
And I feel like like some churches are starting to get together and they're getting land and they're doing this kind of work and preparing similarly to you guys. And I don't know, I feel like that is a place where I feel we could definitely branch out and do what it is you're doing
that's what
through
it was.
churches.
That
Yeah.
that's God's way. You see, the churches is God's people. God's put the person there to run the church, right? They supposed to be the one helping God's people. This is God's people, the homeless, the houseless, and everybody who's in need. But where are they? This is why sometimes I scold them. Churches should be the one running this, not the people on the outside supposed to be running. But they have lost it. So what I'm trying to do is get them back into helping this
Yeah.
kind
And
of job.
I feel like the churches are giving back in their own way, but I do believe what you're saying is that it needs to be on a deeper level, like you're
That's right.
doing. Like I could see a church adopting, like if you say from the government, get this land,
Yeah.
like, and you can get this land and you can, entrust a
Right.
group that's a church that you believe in, like, and then they, you teach them the things that you've done and the way that it could be that church can take that on and the people can serve within that church into that community and get things going and working
Yeah.
in the ways that you're talking. And
Uh-huh.
I think farming is a huge part of it because, like you said, I mean, it's not just a hurricane. I mean, I think, if something really bad happens, like the ships are going to stop coming. Like,
Yep.
what are we going to
Right.
do?
There it
Right.
is.
The
Yes.
resilient side of things,
Right.
we are working really hard with our energy side, but the food is lacking. We import
Yes.
way too much. And I feel that this is an opportunity to be prepared if we can start like within the churches
Yes.
start growing food ourselves, and it's not just for the community eventually, like if something were to happen it would be for the congregation, it would be for
Right.
the community as a whole. So yeah, I really believe that there's a lot of good coming. I feel the revival's coming. I feel
Yes.
that, our church is blowing up, like
That's
Inspired
right.
Church is just like we are we are getting packed, to the rim on our church on certain days. And people are really coming. It's very neat to see. And I just feel it that
Right.
well, we gotta do more. And
Yeah.
we gotta
Yes.
do what you're doing, Auntie
Yeah.
Blanche. We really do. Like
So,
now, like
and one
now's
more
the
thing I want to,
time.
yeah, one more thing I want to say this. The churches don't have to wait for money. They have it. They have everything. Now, walk it, do it. That's what we are. We are here for the Lord. That is Him. He's telling us to go out and walk it and grab the people and do it and help them because it's no time to be waiting. Why wait for the government? Why wait for this? Why wait for all of them when we have it here in the church?
Yeah. I gotta get our church over to see you, see the amazing stuff you're doing. I'll help you
No,
guys, and
they
then
want,
maybe it'll lead into more, and I think God will just take over. So
yeah.
for
And
sure.
as I said, the government, they know this is replicate what you said. I take this model and I want to share it with them. People don't believe this kind of people who's making homeless shelters and everything because they haven't done it the right way. This is the problem, is it? People, that's why there's so much grumbling. And that's why places has been shut down because of the wrongdoing they're doing. They need to realize that once you do this, you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for the Lord. This is God's work. This is not my work. God gives me the energy. He gives me the faith. He gives me the love for the people. That's why I love my people.
Well, and that's why it's working.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. So,
Yeah.
well, I think we covered just about everything in such a short period of time. But what I do, if you can share, what's the best way either to reach you or what's the best way to, like, if somebody wants to reach out to you guys, either volunteer, donate, learn more, where should they go? Is it your website?
They have a my website is up. Everything is all up to date now today. The website is unbelievable. They can call me at 808-341-5548. If not, they can go on my email. It's anuhea, anuhea00 @gmail.com. Yes, you can go in 3 different categories and put it in, and then I'll get up back with you as soon as possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
And
make
then
you.
her website is www.huimahi'ai'Āina. So HUIMAHIAIAINA.org.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's up to date. It shows you everything what we do.
Yeah,
We
I
have
know. I saw
videos.
who did your website? They helped
Uh,
you out, huh?
yes, Aaron did. He's terrific.
Nice.
And he made me flyers. Unbelievable. He's making flyers. He's making my cards. So now everybody can find out what I do and everything. And we
That's
have
so
a lot.
awesome.
Yeah. And we try. I want to be out there for the people. Like God said, go on the road and get your people. That's what I have to do. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for all that you're doing. Continue. I pray for you, and that
Yes.
God will continue to keep working and blessing all your people. Um, I think that's it for now, but I really appreciate your time, and
Oh, you.
I'm gonna reach out to our Eco Rotary Club, see if we can plan a time sometime this
Yes.
year to come out with you guys. Um, if you guys have any questions, let me know. We can reach out. If you guys want to help us when we jump in with them, anybody listening can just
Yes.
give me a shout out. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. You can go to smartlivinghawaii.org. You could also follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. And until next time, live smart. Thanks, guys.
Good. Thank you very much. Mahalo.